We finished filming episode 3. That's a wrap, folks. Yay! Woo! Oh, it's an emotional moment.
I'd like to thank my barber for keeping my hair at the correct length throughout the whole of this filming. I'd like to thank the guy that walks the dog, which I haven't got. And I'd like to thank Nick's glasses.
Excellent.
Where would we be?
Darling, are we going to eat? I'm bloody starving.
No, I'm watching Falling Star, episode 3.
What?
In May of 2015, the third episode of Fallen Star was released, but it was almost another 4 years before the release of the fourth. This was a period of advancement, both for the production quality of the series and in the lives of its co-creators, Daniel and Robert.
It was around about that time that I started getting involved in amateur dramatics and acting on stage.
It's my very first time on a stage.
I'll take the photograph, mate. That's what cleaning up. They had loads of black marks all over.
I mean, a lot of our cast started on the stage and then went on to doing stuff with us on film. I've sort of gone the other way. I think it's been useful as well because obviously we were still making Fallen Star while that was going on. The skills you pick up on stage are, somewhat transferable, like learning lots and lots of lines.
To say your ability to learn lines was pretty good. I mean, it was pretty good to start with, and then
Yeah. Good experiences so far, and it's continuing to this day.
I've got a new job. I started flying for a commercial company, so that was pretty cool.
I think you became a lot busier.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, my availability was a lot less.
Yeah.
Especially my weird roster at the time.
By that point, we were a lot more flexible with filming because it was like, we have you for this day. Okay, we'll get the green screen up and we'll do this bit, and then
because all the set stuff was done.
Yeah.
That time's quite a blur, really. It was mostly raising a child. I didn't realise the gap was so long. I looked considerably different in between by the time we got back to filming again. I had to subtly disguise how little hair I had left. It wasn't very subtle.
It was busy time, that was my mid to late 20s, so lots was happening.
Not a great deal until about 2017, when I was pregnant with my first child. And that was when we recorded, when we went back in time to Earth. And those wonderful outfits. Yeah, I deliberately wore something that was roomy, so if we did have to film anything a bit later, there was still space and it was floaty, so it wouldn't, show the bump.
There was actually a lot going on in my life at the time. I was dealing with a lot of stuff, so I wasn't as involved in the filming and things like that. I pretty much wrapped when we wrapped the bridge. I had one scene that I filmed after that, which I'm sure we talked about last time because I was pregnant, and it was the scene that I wrote. And I wrote something that would have been fine in a book, but did not translate well to television, to film. Yeah, I'm going to plug my book. Hey, look, this is my book. I did notice that the same thing happened again here, that you have all these great ideas that you think are absolutely wonderful, and you have to not be precious with your words and with your dialogue and be accepting of cutting through it with a big pencil or a big pair of scissors.
Fallen Star's second phase of production began in 2011, when scenes on the ship's bridge for all episodes were filmed back to back. As the years went by, additional scenes were completed as needed, with some scenes brought forward to accommodate cast members who were leaving.
Dan Lewis went off to America. Kevin O'Connor had gone to somewhere else in America. Making it big, not in Hollywood though.
No.
Having that position open up, I'm not going to complain about, but at the same time, it was sad to see Kevin go.
We have to film things a bit earlier just
We had to get stuff done quick smart, didn't we?
Yes.
The fight scene. Oh, that's hilarious. I look back on that now and I cringe a little bit.
I remember seeing it previewed in the trailer because you teasing the confrontation between him and the Russian spy for a few episodes. So I was looking forward to seeing them finally go at it.
Bang! I don't know why I went bang. Oh.
Am I blocking that one?
Yeah, you're blocking that one.
We were choreographing it. We were sort of writing down all the moves, sort of drawing out how we were going to do it. It was like, right, let's practice it. We spent about an hour writing it. It took about 10 seconds to do. It's like, we've got a panic.
Is that when I grab you?
Oh yeah, I've forgotten that one. So it comes in, grabs my hand. Go for the second punch.
Block.
Block.
Uppercut.
It's a downward punch throw.
Oh, hang on. Block spine. Oh yeah, uppercut.
So Bosch.
Uppercut. Then the
Stay
gut. Oh no, you don't fall over at this point because he grabs you by
I
the...
could pull off. I mean, I could stand up and just.
I could pick you up.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that'd
that'd be good. Yep.
How's this for a stiff upper lip? Dun, 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 dun.
I was not involved at all in the fight scene. I don't think I filmed a single scene with Little Dan, which may be a good thing because I'm not sure I would have been able to knock corpse with his Russian accent. It was amazing.
Headbutt. Well, that looked quite good from the back.
It was fun doing it. We ended up shooting it in slow motion to give ourselves a little bit of time and to make it look a little bit more realistic, because obviously trying to dodge a real punch is really tricky.
It is.
So we did it slow-mo and then sped it up, and we thought, it'll look brilliant.
In slow motion, and go. That's pretty cool.
But some of it we did.
But it was fun.
Some of it was full speed. Some of
Yeah.
it was full speed. And we had the red sort of food colour.
Yeah, I wish we had more blood.
Yeah.
On reflection, I'd like to have had a lot more.
Yeah.
I think the bit I quite enjoyed doing it, and I look at it now and I think that's pretty cool, is when I fell and you saw me falling backwards. To see me going, "Ah."
I think we did that in slow motion as well.
I think we did, yeah.
3, 2, 1, and falling.
A portion of the episode would feature characters wearing spacesuits, requiring the most significant production investment since the series began.
The biggest thing we've had to build, I think, for this, because obviously episode 2 we're just reusing a set, and episode 3 we're just reusing a set, and then we had to actually build something for the fourth one.
Bit light-headed. Oh God. Gonna blind you for that.
I'll tell you what, when we come to actually shoot in the full suit, it's going to be so warm.
Getting warm.
A bit sweaty in there.
I think when I saw it in person, I was like, "Oh, that's just great." It looks a little bit like it's just made out of bits and stuff from B&Q. But actually, when you saw it on screen with people acting in it, I thought it was very impressive.
Well, we've got a bit more to go, a bit more to do on this suit, but it's coming along nicely, I think.
There's the backpack. We've got the atmosphere checker. There it is, and you can see that when you're in space, there will be no atmosphere, so that'll always read 0. Brilliant.
There is a switch. Okay, ready? You ready?
This is going to be fun.
The actual suit itself was pretty straightforward. You think there was...
The boots were from eBay.
Oh, there you go.
The flight suit was I managed to get from work.
Just a zippy flight suit.
And the helmet actually is like a...
It's a fire. It was an ex-fire helmet.
Yeah, it had this metal wire mesh inside it for like heat protection. So we had to rip that out, which was quite a job because it was all...
It was all glued in, wasn't it? Yeah. Then you bought a
it's like a piece of armour. Yeah, motocross armour. And I saw it and I was like, I must have that. It was very, very expensive, so I kept looking around for like second-hand ones, and eventually I found it at a reasonable price. I was like, I'm just going to buy it. We also used an awful lot of white gaffer tape. I had to cover that because it was silver, wasn't it? It's reflective.
Oh,
the shroud.
I've forgotten that, yeah. The pipes kept popping out, didn't they? Because it was like the backpack.
Yes.
I made out of a piece of cardboard, stuck some gauges and something in it.
Yeah.
Gaffer tape that in white gaffer tape to make it look, spacey.
It was a very good spacesuit, I thought. It worked, it did the trick, and amazingly fit 3 very different shaped people.
I went away to Nigel and said to him, can you make this? It's more like to be flicky and flashy, and he was come back going, yeah, sure.
We had lights.
It The only difficult thing was hiding the batteries somewhere.
Did we tucked them in the vest, I think, wasn't it?
I actually remember I was sitting in the premiere. I leant over to Nick and said, "How does that spacesuit fit you and Spong and Dan?" And Nick was like, "Movie magic."
I was lucky enough to get to wear it. It was a bit loose on me, but I don't seem to remember it being that difficult to get in and out of. I just remember moving in it being quite difficult. The pretty light inside and the devices. Yeah, it was really cool.
There's a few shots where Spaceman on the hull of the shuttle. That's kind of the first time I've made a little figure actually in the 3D package and sort of animated it and stuff. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, it was the distant shots, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it still looks pretty darn cool. Unless you knew, you couldn't tell.
No.
What was that?
Sorry.
I really enjoyed our Who Rules the World Girls episode where I got to sit in the captain's chair and we had all the girls on bridge.
Should I be calling you Captain, Lizzie? Lieutenant will suffice for now, Susan.
And that is it. That is probably the last time I have to wear this uniform. For reasons that will become clear later, I will not be wearing this again. Thank you and good night. Well done everyone, we've wrapped on episode 4! Yay!
Their most ambitious episode yet, episode 4 was released in February of 2019 under the title The Butler Did It, and was accompanied by a 2-disc DVD set containing all episodes and special features. By this point, all filming for the remaining 2 episodes had been completed. However, the teaser trailer for episode 5 revealed very little.
So episode 5.
Episode 5. What a great episode that was.
We did time travel.
Every good sci-fi series does time.
You've got to have time travel. You've got to have an episode where the people from the future go to the present day Earth and they get all confused and they don't know how anything works.
Early in 2017, before episode 4 had even been released, Daniel and Robert were already looking for places to film outdoors.
Today, we're going location scouting. We're looking for places to use for the exterior scenes in episode 5.
Absolutely.
So we're talking roads and alleyways and estates and things like that.
There was, thankfully, outside my house, my old house, the alleyway around the back of my house.
A lot of these places were very close together, but
Yeah.
we were pretending that they were like 40 miles apart or something.
Around your neck of the woods as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, back where we used to live, just sort of like a quiet street.
Yes,
a quiet street was generally no one around, so you could sort of walk down an alley, walk along the road. It's generally okay. I think the hardest part of filming outdoor or filming that particular episode was the car chase, because if you're filming in a car, fair enough. One person gets out, cameraman gets in the seat, I think that was me.
Yeah.
You just film it as you're driving, whatever. But if you're filming a car or 2 cars driving past on a street, you've got to have someone in the car coordinating it. You've got to be on the phone to them, they'll be saying, I'm just coming around the corner now, get the camera ready, blah, blah, blah. He's definitely hit record. And, if the take isn't quite right, if it's too slow or the camera's a bit too far away or whatever, it doesn't look right, you've got to get on the phone again. Shall we go again? Yeah, let's go again. Right, they've got to drive around the block and they've got to make sure that they don't get separated as they go around the block, and then they've got to come around again. For a shot that takes, it's over in like 5 seconds. It took ages.
Forever.
Right, here we go again.
We're doing a slow run, apparently.
I seem to remember that there were a few of us in the back of Tom's van, and we had no idea where we were going because we couldn't see a thing.
Episode 5 would need 4 additional cast members, 3 of which would be playing the first aliens to appear in the series.
We are Fartrons.
I guess we've widened down it a little bit. Not that far.
So it was the Guildonians, wasn't it?
The Guildonian players, a very talented bunch of various stage performers who've done many things. And, Tom is a great character actor. He can do funny voices.
It is a high-intensity DNA probing sensor and geographical display. It is a lamp. Do you like it?
Couldn't have done without all three of them.
No.
They just fitted well.
So Kenneth is like sort of giving away all their secrets, and so every time he says something, Arthur sort of looks at him and he's like, it's difficult to do aliens. You've either got to do puppets or makeup or CG. None of them are easy to do.
No.
So we thought, well, what if they're aliens but they're disguised? And so that led to the robot bodies idea. I think originally we wanted their costumes to be maybe a bit more alien, like silver jumpsuits or something. And we did try. We didn't have a lot of money. We had no money really, but we did try out some paper suits, like decorator suits.
They just sort of fell apart.
They did not.
They didn't work. They did not last. What's everybody got? A suit. A bit sort of Men in Black almost.
Yes.
I wasn't around to fix fartrons. Mummy wasn't there, so you got to be very silly. Just called them bum people.
And the other character, of course, was the cab driver.
Oh, Sarah was wonderful as the cabbie. Very believable. She had no idea what we were up to, which was quite believable as the cabbie.
The most trouble she had was driving while acting at the same time. Because
that was the problem I had.
Yeah.
I'm watching what's going on out the window as I do, and I'm trying to remember lines and say the lines was slightly ridiculous.
We had Sarah Ross being the cabbie, and I remember she was getting very frustrated when we were trying to film our scenes on location outside the station when members of the public kept just being in the way and driving past and being noisy and making her forget her lines. I always get confused about this because I always think that episode is earlier in Dismissed Remembered It. I always think that's like episode 3.
Obviously I had no idea about any of that was happening. I think my only contribution to that episode was playing around with some knobs and then the thing exploded.
I think one of the bits that I was dubious about when you said you were going to try it and do it was the removing of the head. But the idea of being controlled by these little tiny creatures inside.
Yeah. I mean, that was a bit Men in Black as well, wasn't it? This tiny aliens disguised as humans, controlling like robot bodies.
You see them coming out of the body, the head rotates and everything. I was like, I can't believe I'm actually watching something that someone I know has made. I thought that was really professional.
It was. That was probably the hardest shot in that whole episode. To be honest, that was very, very challenging because Tony had to do it about 2 or 3 times. He had to turn his head with his hands up. Then he had to just turn his hands on their own. Then he had to sort of not use his hands.
Do his head as well.
Do that so that I could separate the top bit and the bottom bit, and I had to combine about 3 different shots all in one.
Don't worry, no one suspects a thing. We'll blend in perfectly.
We said that Phillips, she knows all about the 20th century. Go talk to her. She'll give you something to wear. And we all rock up wearing just ridiculous outfits. There's me with a hat. My red shirt, t-shirt was kind of a bit of a nod. Shorts, flip flops.
I loved the costumes for episode 5 where we got to be a bit silly. And I remember getting quite a lot of odd looks from the public as we were just standing around on the street and climbing in and out of cars. I think people were very confused.
So we basically said, for this episode, you dress yourselves. Bring your most outrageous mismatching clothes possible. Imagine someone doesn't know anything about fashion or what people wear in the 21st century, and that's what you're wearing.
All of us had very different outfits that didn't in any way match, or even any parts of the costume match the other parts of the costume.
I love the girls. I love the Joan still manages to look good in the most ridiculous of clothing. Like, how does she do that? She's wearing a fascinator and like workout yoga pants kind of thing, and I have no idea how she does it.
I nearly went very, very silly, but I reined it in a little bit.
You were going to go naked, weren't you?
I wasn't going to be naked, no, but there was going to be other things. But I thought, no, I've got to be in public. I can't wear not a lot or something ridiculous.
Jenny looked like she was going to Glastonbury in 1989. I looked at Nick and I said, you look like you're on day release from a hospital. He pointed out actually that his character is probably the least socially aware of any of them, so he'd probably be socially unaware of how to dress in like normal his time clothes, let alone clothes from however many 100 years ago.
I did not see anyone in any of their costumes until I actually watched the episode, and I was mind blown by every single one.
Because it's like more Victorious, so it should be slightly lower camera.
Yes.
Not too low, but low.
No, that's quite nice.
My neighbour, 2 doors down at my old house, he was always very interested in what we were up to with the film. And he always said, you know, if you need any hand making anything, just let me know. So I said, well, actually, we need to make a funky little machine for our episode. So I told him roughly what we want. This little machine, probably say, hey, yay, hi, and it's going to be lights and things. And he, okay, leave it with me. So he comes back, he says, I've made this prototype, and it was an old fire extinguisher bottle with this sort of part of a fan or something. And on top of that, he put another bit of another fan, and then put like a metal pot, which was spinning, that you can't really see it spinning.
Yeah.
And it was obviously rotating. But it was the start of what it could turn into.
Mostly just disappeared down to the garage every now and again and built something, and he'd go, look what I've done. Go, okay, what is it?
It was very loud.
It was very loud. It was like a fan.
It's alive! I have to say, it's got noisier.
Okay.
I have a fear it's going to go ding one day, but until then.
Would you mind stepping aside so we can thoroughly trash your equipment?
BSA headquarters. This is the HMS Britannic reporting in. Do you read us?
Let's do it. BSA headquarters. This is the HMS Britannic reporting in. Do you read us?
In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic forced a near total shutdown of creative industries around the world.
That shut us down for a while.
Yeah, I think, well, it shut everyone down for a while, really, didn't it? The world just...
No, it just shut us down. It wasn't good enough. But no, that was dreadful because we couldn't finish episode 5, could we?
No, I mean, there wasn't much left to do. I think it was just dubbing, basically.
Yeah.
Being unable to meet in person, Daniel and Robert used this opportunity to create a remotely collaborative mini-episode for release online, which they dubbed a webisode.
So I thought, we're all stuck indoors, separately. Is there anything we can do, anything we can release that doesn't require us to be together physically, that can sort of bridge the gap between episode 4 and episode 5? And so the idea of webisodes was born at that very moment.
The webisode, yes. I can't remember how that came about, but it was really cool because we did an angle where my character spaced, essentially. Daniel approached me and was like, oh, should we do a webisode about what happens while I'm floating through space? And I was like, yeah, that would be good fun. Of course, everyone being at home made sense. The only way to film it was at home with a camera right in my face. I don't seem to remember much else except just speaking and looking around in different directions. But I think it turned out really well, and it was really fun to film.
It will suddenly smash it into an asteroid. A few moments of silence before it's like, no.
Near the end of episode 5's post-production, the working title was finally changed. Daniel had never liked the name Earthbound, and so he and Robert finally decided it should be called No Place Like Home, adding a touch of whimsy. Despite the setbacks and delays, episode 5 was released at the very end of 2021 to a receptive audience who are probably glad to be able to get together again.
And a lot of the cast and crew who filmed a lot of this would have been 9 years ago?
Some of it was filmed about 10 years ago.
Oh, 10 years ago, there you go.
Bits of it were filmed more recently, and we're hoping that's not going to be too obvious.
Well, right now it is January 2021, which still feels really weird to say. It's certainly been a weird few months, but it does mean that it's been about 10 years since Rob and I sat down and wrote the scripts for episodes 2 to 6, which means it's been 10 years since I wrote this scene in which the Smagoulons all sit around a table in an underground bunker plotting world domination and so on. Interestingly, I only really started working on designing the scene sort of at the beginning of this month, so it's only taken about 3 weeks to get it almost finished. From sketching to sculpting, digital sculpting, painting, modelling, rigging, animating, building the room, lighting it, rendering it. It's now coming to the end of January, but it's pretty much done. So, and I really want to show people what I've done so far, but it's got to be under wraps.
It didn't really take that long to do, whereas other shots, like really boring shots, like you sitting on a bench with a blank wall behind you, took weeks and weeks of work. I'm just scoping around trying to remove your curtains in the room, and you'd watch the episode and think, oh, that shot couldn't have taken very long, but this one must have taken ages. Like, no, it's the other way around. So we see aliens really for the first time in episode, sort of for the first time, because obviously we have the Fartrons in episode 5.
Yeah.
And in episode 4 you sort of see some holograms of aliens. But episode 6 is the first time you really properly see them up close and personal. We've been teasing them, I guess, for a long time.
I was very, very impressed with the aliens when I finally saw them. It was like a real movie. I was very shocked.
Yes, when you hear the word Smugulon, I didn't know what I was thinking. I think I always imagined it being almost regal for some reason. And then when I saw them, and I was like, that makes a lot more sense. Smugulon, like sort of buggy, proper alien race. But the way they were animated was really cool. And the language as well, which I learned how the sound was made, which is good old practical effects.
2 pots of moisturiser. Put them together because they're slightly ribbed at the bottom, and then twist.
And that was the basis for their noise.
Sound was born.
Yeah, I had no idea what to expect, so when I first saw it at the premiere, it was like, oh, wow. Yeah, that is definitely an alien.
I was sitting there thinking there's no way you could have done that when we started, so that's probably why we didn't have visuals of aliens. I was really, really impressed. Like, how you can do that with just like normal domestic software, hardware, whatever is very impressive.
I did do a bit of sort of motion capture, not quite motion capture, but it was just for reference footage. But we didn't end up using it. I think in the end I just hand animated the Smugulons.
Difficult to do motion capture when you're sitting.
It could have been me. I think Tim wanted to do the motion capture for the aliens at one point.
He did, he kept saying about it, didn't he?
As with previous episodes, the filming for the bridge scenes was completed back in 2011, some of which required the use of a smoke machine.
We haven't used this before. This should be interesting.
To wait for the yellow light.
Moment of truth.
Here we go.
Whoa!
Not going to set a fire alarm off, is it?
Pass.
And I was kind of expecting, like you see in the movies, like, clouds of it.
Lingering.
Yeah, and it kind of didn't. Although saying that, when you see it on the footage, it's not a bad amount of smoke, because you can still see everybody.
But we had to sort of keep it going again and again. I think a lot of the shots you were manning the smoke machine, and you were standing there sort of wafting the smoke with this bit of cardboard, trying to get it to go further. But it was worth doing, because I think the more you can do real rather than fake with visual effects, the better. So real smoke.
It felt like we were really under attack. We were all coughing in between takes, and watching Caroline nearly having an asthma attack.
But I survived. I'm here. Probably encouraged me to stop smoking. So
The filming of the remaining scenes mostly took place in 2017 and 2018, using green screen sets and creative new locations.
Welcome to the inside of the alien space cannon. And this is one of those moments where
this is smug.
Yeah, it's guerrilla filmmaking. This look at what we've set up. This is so high tech.
Still making some adjustments here.
This is one of those scenes where we couldn't do it during the daytime. We're actually glad that we've lost the light.
So there you were, lying awkwardly in the boot of the car at night.
Yeah.
being lit by not a lot.
You made some lights, and you had some flashy.
Yeah, those LED lights, or not? It was the lights that were in the alien machine.
Okay, yeah.
So I took those out, and we'd sort of hung them.
blinking this side and that side. So it looked kind of cool. But you know what? That was the hardest. I mean, I should have learned those lines a bit better. I think because that was the hardest thing I think I've had to do. Because when you're on your back, you're very disoriented. It's dark. You can't read your script properly, and you're trying to
mess around with things,
and things were just falling on my face as I was doing it, and it was really hard. But yeah, that was one of the last things we filmed.
Slight upgrade on the bed. This time, we've got a table, a wooden table instead of a plastic one, on top of a cabinet, which is different.
And I am hoping to remove the curtains in post-production. Okay, Rob, this is your last scene as Captain Knight. How does it feel?
Quite sad, actually. To know I'm not going to be put on this uniform again and forgetting all my lines as I usually do is a little bit emotional.
One of the last shots to be filmed was the close-up of Logan's hand wiping snow from the window of the crashed ship. This proved to be surprisingly difficult due to the mild winters at the time.
Can we get a frosty morning or a frosty night and wait for real snow?
It just didn't happen, did it? I think we waited about 2 winters because we were getting into sort of 2017, 2018, I think, by this point. And it was one of the last shots we needed. It was like, when is this winter snowy day gonna come? And it just didn't. So we just sort of thought, well, sod it, we're going to make it.
We'll make it.
So we're using a mixture comprising baking powder, shaving foam, and I think we're going to try some of this conditioner. Experimenting, really, more than anything. It's very powdery at the moment. We like it to go sticky. A bit more foam.
Feels like Blue Peter.
That's really quite bizarre. I apologise for messing your car up and making an almighty mess. Here we go.
It's alright, you can clean it up later. It's not working, is it?
Kind of looks like I've just put a load of scrambled eggs all over the car.
Not quite how I imagined it.
No, it's not really. I think it needs more powder. I think it's a bit too gloopy.
Fake snow. Yeah, I was fooled. I watched that and I was like, oh, that was just snow. But no, it was not snow. I could not believe it was not snow.
Makeshift green screen.
I had to extend it because the amount of snow was like that big and I needed it to be that big, so I kind of photoshopped it.
I didn't realise that. I did think that. I don't remember it being that amount of snow.
It really wasn't that lot at all.
I'd go just left and right.
Left and right, yeah.
So on the top and just go boom, boom. So you're circling there. So put your hand on and go like, so it's effectively like that and just.
I was so impressed by the fake snow. I had no idea it was fake. I thought it was real snow. Better than Harry Potter. Well done.
But then, I think it was just a few days, maybe a couple of weeks later, it snowed. And it was a really, really heavy snow.
Where was this snow a week ago when we bloody needed it? A year we've been waiting for it to snow.
If only I had my camera with me and the glove with me and a green sheet or something, I'd have another go at doing it, but I didn't in the end.
Alas, it didn't happen.
So fake snow it was.
Indeed.
And cut! That's a wrap. Robbie has officially wrapped Fallen Star completely. Well, I'm here on our smallest studio, and I've finished what I'm hoping will be the end of the filming. And that's it. We filmed everything. It's done. It's over.
Characters such as Whitby, Porter, and the Russian Admiral were brought back for minor appearances. Daniel felt this would lend a sense of finality to the story, bringing it full circle, so to speak.
That wasn't right, was it?
It was more or less right.
Smuggler Fleet, your allies are here to assist you. Hello, Captain. Whitby here. Just checking to see how you're doing.
Emma was kind enough to lend us her voice for the last episode and just do a fun little... It wasn't even in the original script, it just kind of got added because it was funny.
Hello again, Captain. Thought you could use a hand.
It was going to just be the voice.
Yeah.
And then technology has advanced to such a degree I was able to kind of, animate his mouth and have him actually saying it. It's about time we did something bold.
I thought it was about time we did something bold.
Kind of one of the main characters, really, Humphreys gets killed on the Spagula ship, which is sort of, it's a moment where you think, oh, you know, this is serious now.
Yeah.
You know, we're not playing around anymore.
I've never been a fan of killing off characters. There's always part of my brain just like, they're not really dead. Surely they're not really dead. And yeah, that was a big shock. Because I think Humphreys was definitely a fan favourite with his badass butler vibe. So yeah, that was quite shocking.
Humphreys. It was kind of poignant and sad and followed by the Cat's Cradle.
But yeah, I mean,
just to bring it a little bit more light-hearted.
I did get some laughs actually at the premiere.
He did.
We're about to engage on the most dangerous and difficult mission any of us has ever been on.
Episode 6 was the most technically difficult episode to make, requiring numerous complicated visual effects sequences that were beyond anything Daniel had attempted before. Nevertheless, the climactic moments had been planned out long in advance.
You see the ship just getting blown apart in slow motion with the little intercuts of all the fun parts of it. It was just, oh my goodness, the first time I ever watched it, I choked up.
To do the actual crying, I was like off in a corner listening to Les Mis and just like zone out, get in a I'm gonna cry mode, and then roll.
When we brought it back for more episodes, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6, that was always my intention to end it on that very shot. That would be the very last shot of the whole series would be that. And so it's just a case of how do we get there?
I wasn't expecting that. I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting something quite so sad and dramatic.
None of us knew. None of us knew how it was going to end. I mean, we were all filming it with tears in our eyes and thinking that we were going to die if the characters were going to die. So I was absolutely in bits. I was crying. I was holding Nick's hand and crying. It was like watching Infinity War.
Quite a few people said at the end that they were really choked up and why did you do that? Why did you end like that? And it was because we did.
See, I don't think it's a cliffhanger ending. I'd say it's... I mean, I suppose you could interpret it how you want to interpret it.
The final episode didn't have a title until it was virtually complete, but a short list of ideas were whittled down to just 2: Parting Ways and Full Circle. Mere days before the final trailer was released, the latter name was chosen, and Full Circle had its premiere on the 19th of July 2024. The series had been in development since 2009, a span of 15 years, culminating in this epic conclusion.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming to this very special event. This is the last ever episode of Fallen Star!
I'm going to miss the premiere night where we all get to dress up and have a little drink. I think I did it all but one. I think there was one that I didn't go to, but yeah, they were always a highlight.
I love the premiere nights. They're highlight. And obviously I have the struggle of putting up the screen in the first place and then the struggle of taking it down at the end of the night whilst wearing a pretty dress. But apart from that, yeah, it's great. And especially with episode 6 where I had no idea what was going to happen. So I was as much in the dark as everybody else, especially as most of the scenes were filmed so long ago, I didn't remember them at all.
It's a good way to watch the episodes for the first time, getting people excited, and just an excuse to dress up.
Yeah, definitely.
Put on some nice clothes, have a few drinks, and
get everybody together.
Yeah.
I love the glitz and the glam of it, and us all treating it like it was Cannes. It was amazing.
Always a good crowd. Always felt like a special event, and we've been going to these premieres while so much has progressed in our own lives personally as well. So coming back to that same hall in that same screen is always quite nostalgic because it's like going back to this thing as well for the same event. So yeah, it was always good, and I haven't quite realised yet that it was the last one. So I'm waiting for the next one.
Fallen Star has had a significant impact on the lives of those involved. It has brought people together, broadened knowledge, and started conversations. And although the series is finished, its legacy will live on far into the future.
It's been a pleasure.
Long may it continue and annoy other people.
Yes, absolutely.